What is up? Welcome into this emergency live show. We have breaking news that came across my timeline today. The Big 12 and UConn have stalled their conversations about UConn potentially joining the conference for basketball, at least. Now, we heard reports weeks ago. I've done multiple videos on it that UConn and the Big 12 had resumed talks that were taking place last year. Those conversations, according to some reports, never stopped. Brett Yormark was not able to get enough votes to bring UConn in last year. Instead, they were able to get the four corner schools. Reports said that they were talking again this time, with the caveat that they would bring them in basketball and maybe other sports, but not bring football in until 2031 when the new TV deal was up. But according to the reports that came out today, which I'm going to share on the screen with you right now, or we'll share with you in just a minute, UConn and the Big 12 have stalled their conversations. Real quick, before we get into it, I want to give a shout out to my channel sponsor, Cats, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner. Also, want to give a shout out to another company who's helping power this live stream and this channel, and that is BetUS Sportsbook and Casino. Thank them both for their support here on the channel. And real quick, let's get to that business, speaking of which, and give a shout out to one of those sponsors. Since 1931, the attorneys at Cats, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner have been the voice for victims who have suffered serious injury or death. They have a fierce passion for truth and justice and a sincere compassion for those who have been wronged by others. Whether you have been in a car accident or fighting with an insurance company, or you or a loved one has suffered serious injury or death due to medical negligence, we will ensure your voice is heard loud and clear. Cats, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner will ensure there is justice for all West Virginians, because we are your lawyer, your voice. Visit us at yourlawyeryourvoice.com. All right. Thank you for being patient letting me get through that. Again, if you need a medical malpractice or personal injury attorney in West Virginia or Virginia, Cats, Cantor, Stone Street, and Buckner is where you need to go. Now, let's get into it. Let me go ahead and share the article. The one I'm going to share with you is from Amanda Kristovich. It was actually first broken, I think, by Brett McMurphy over at Action Network. But this by Amanda Kristovich says, please see below for an official statement. And she's with Front Office Sports, by the way. It says, please see below for an official statement from Big 12 Commissioner Yormark regarding conference expansion. And here's Yormark's quote. As commissioner, it is my responsibility to explore a variety of value-creating opportunities on behalf of the Big 12. Following detailed discussions with my conference colleagues alongside UConn leadership, we have jointly decided to pause our conversations at this time. We will instead focus our attention and resources to ushering in this new era of college athletics, end quote. Now, what I find intriguing about that, a couple things. Number one, it obviously goes to show you that he was not able to round up enough votes by the conference presidents to make this happen. Two, this is a big, important day for the House settlement. The judge is going to make some kind of ruling today. I don't know the details of it about this House settlement. It goes way over my head. I don't really understand it all, but I do know there's something important happening today regarding the House settlement. So this could be tied to that. Maybe there's something coming down the pipeline that makes the presidents get cold feet about expanding right now, especially with a program like UConn, who would not be adding any football value, because that right now is where they need to be focused. They need to be right now. They need to be earning revenue, and UConn likely won't do that for them. And because of what's going on with the House settlement, what's going on with all the money they're going to be having to fork out down the road, they just don't see the importance in it. Now, Brett Yormark likely is not going to stop trying to figure out ways to get UConn in. And let's scroll up and see what quote tweet Amanda had with this. She says, source tells at Front Office Sports that Yormark himself is still high on UConn and sees the value of a school in the Northeast. But he made this decision due to the views of his constituents. Came to the conclusion it just wasn't the right time. And again, with the House settlement looming, you're still trying to integrate the four corner schools into the league. You've just finished integrating the three former American teams plus BYU into the league. Maybe now's just not the right time. Maybe they need to sit on this, be patient, see what happens with the ACC, see what happens with the house settlement, and then you can make a decision. Also, you may need to, focus on selling the league naming rights. You may need to have deeper discussions about, private equity or private capital, whatever that might be. But bringing UConn in just might not be the right thing to do right now today. So I wanted to bring that to you again. I think Brett McMurphy was the first one out of the gate with that. Others have also come out with it since. Not surprising, really. I didn't expect to see it today. And to be honest with you, this does not break my heart. I did not really see the benefit of adding UConn right now. Yes, I understand their basketball brand, and it would be valuable, no doubt. And it would be exciting to play UConn again, especially as a West Virginia fan who got accustomed to playing them, who got accustomed to the Mountaineers playing them in the Big East days. It was fun playing UConn. But right now, it's all about football and football value, and that's where the value is. And right now, they need to be doing things that will increase their value in football, in my opinion, because I just don't think basketball carries enough weight right now to be focusing on it. So with that being said, I think this is the right decision by Brett Yormark, by the conference, their presidents, and by UConn. Apparently, if I had to guess, he says it was mutual, but if I had to guess, it was probably more so the Big 12 just not having enough votes to add UConn. I would imagine UConn would probably have jumped had the Big 12 asked them to jump. Also wanted to share with you another tweet that I'll show you in a minute, but I want us to realize I don't think this conversation is going to be dead. Now, Greg Flugar over on his channel the other day, college football speaker on the corner, talked about this. He said, even if this doesn't happen now, it could still happen in the future. It doesn't necessarily mean it's not going to happen. This is a pause. It's a stall. Notice Yormark didn't say, the word he used, pause our conversations. He didn't say that they wouldn't continue. They're just putting them on hold. So it doesn't mean that UConn has zero chance of coming to the Big 12 in the future. It doesn't mean that UConn will come to the Big 12 in the future. All it means is they're stalling or pausing the conversations, point blank. There's not a whole lot more to add to it. As far as, some people are going to, matter of fact, I've already have people on social media say, see, I told you UConn wasn't coming to the Big 12. Ha ha, you're an idiot. You're a moron. All kinds of crap. People calling Jim Williams a liar who used to be a producer at ESPN. All kinds of crap. It doesn't mean, all it means is they're not coming right now. They're not coming today. They're not coming in the, the very near future. Doesn't mean they may not be there in 2031 or even 2028 or 2027. The talks have stalled for now. Depending on what happens with this house settlement, depending on what happens with the ACC, these talks could get reinvigorated or come back to the surface again in a few months. Who knows? And speaking of Jim Williams, he put out a tweet. And for those of you who don't know, Jim Williams is a former producer at ESPN. He's a 7-time Emmy-winning producer at that. He has sources throughout the industry. He said, and this was a tweet he put out 2 days ago. He said, over the holiday weekend, I spent time with some prominent UConn Husky boosters who informed me that it's a matter of when, not if, UConn will join the Big 12 Conference or possibly the ACC. This aligns with Brett Yormark's objectives and is hardly surprising. So it's a matter of when, not if, according to boosters at UConn. We've seen UConn boosters put out on X publicly that they want this move to happen. But it's the Big 12 here, in my opinion, that's holding this up. The Big 12 presidents just don't feel comfortable making this move. They want to focus on what's going on with the House case. They want to focus on integrating the 4 new schools. And they probably, if I had to guess, now this is just my theory, I have no sources here, but it's my guess and my theory that they're wanting to wait and see what happens with the ACC as well. Why not get a team? Now, we know it's a long shot, but if you have any chance at landing Florida State or Clemson, you want those teams in your league first because they bring football value today. Even a team like a Louisville, in my opinion, would be more valuable than adding UConn because they bring football value today. NC State, Virginia Tech, all those schools, in my opinion, are more valuable adds than UConn because of their football brand. I don't want to underestimate the value of getting the Northeast market. I know that matters, but I don't think it matters as much without the football piece. And I think that's really the holdup. The Big 12 presidents can't take any chances on doing anything that might cost them money, not only today, but 6, 7, 10 years from now. And if UConn is not able to meet the thresholds they had put in place for them in football in 6 years, what happens then? I don't think the Big 12 presidents were willing to take that risk. Now, is this a good move? Like I said, I think it's the right move to make right now. There might be people out there who disagree with me, and that's fine. If you disagree, feel free to let me know. I have no issue with that. But I think this was the right move for now. Some people are going to say, Brett Yormark is a risk taker. The presidents need to let him do his thing. And I understand that argument, but I'm not sure they needed to do it right now. Before we move on, I'm going to get to some of your comments. I want to shout out real quick to BetUS Online Sportsbook Casino. They have upped the ante, folks. Not only, remember their previous special was 125% sign-on bonus. Now they have upped the ante. If you go to BetUS, open you an account, and you type in promo code YouTube150, you will get a 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. That's right, 150% bonus on your first 3 deposits up to $2,000. Only at BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino. There are a lot of games going on this weekend. The one I'm focusing on right now, as a West Virginia guy and a Big 12 guy, I've conference mate Cincinnati hosting our arch rival, the Pitt Panthers, this Saturday. Cincinnati is a 2-point favorite in this game. It is at home. I'm not real high on Pittsburgh again this year. I still don't think they're going to be a very good football team. I think there are too many question marks. I really like Cincinnati. Brandon Sorsby had a really good week this past week. He threw the ball really well. It was against inferior competition. They also have Kiner coming back in the backfield at running back. I really like Cincinnati in this one to cover. So I'm taking Cincinnati to cover the 2-point spread. I'm placing $20 on it right now at BetUS. Placing my bet. Confirm. And I'm in. So I just put $20 on Cincinnati to cover the 2-point spread against Pitt this weekend. If you want to do that, again, go to BetUS, type in YouTube 150 to take advantage of that bonus offer today. Please play responsibly. All right. Let me get to some of your comments here. All right. That's got Carla Jenkins in the house. Thanks for sharing this breaking news with us, Couz. You're welcome, Carla. We have Big Ears Bo. In other words, they didn't have the votes. Exactly, Bo. Exactly. Big 12 presidents were not on board with this move. Greg Nelson in the house. If true, that's depressing. Hopefully it's a very short pause. Greg, I'm going to assume you are a UConn fan. He says, tiny thinking Couz. I understand Brett Yormark. I trust Brett Yormark, but I'm just not sure now's the right time, Greg. To be honest with you, I think they need to give it a bit, see what happens with this house settlement first. And also, you've got the ACC schools over here. You don't want to take a spot up with UConn when you could potentially go get some ACC schools down the road. That's just my opinion. Big Ears Bo again says, the university presidents and the ADs obviously wasn't for this. We're only hearing that it's Yormark that wants this. That's why it's never going to happen. I don't want to say never, Big Ears Bo. It's not going to happen now. That's the thing. Scotty B. the Baylor King in the house. He says it makes sense to wait because who knows what happens to the ACC. He also says no need to add just to add when UConn is not as valuable when compared to realistic ACC teams to be in the Big 12. Bo says it's never going to happen. Sure, UConn has solid basketball, softball, women's soccer, and baseball programs. However, it doesn't mean a ton. Big Ears Bo says, and people think this will pass with only 12 votes. This isn't the ACC, folks. It also doesn't make sense to add Oregon State and Washington State to the Big 12 either. Greg Nelson says, if we lose UConn to the ACC, the Big 12 won't survive. We can't catch the greedy 2 in football. Small thinking killed the pack. Looks like the Big 12 is following so stupid. And that's a fair comment. And you may end up being right. UConn, like the tweet I shared from Jim Williams, There's keeping, they're looking at the ACC as well. They want to be in a power conference. The Big 12 was just the one that made sense right now for them because of Brett Yormark's interest. If the ACC does lose Florida State and Clemson, which they likely will at some point, they're going to backfill. And UConn is right there for the taking. They're already in their footprint in the Northeast. They would add to the basketball brand of the ACC when you partner them up with Duke and North Carolina, assuming North Carolina doesn't leave, obviously. They're right there in the Northeast with Boston College, with Syracuse. So I understand your thinking, Greg, and you could end up being right. I just think the Big 12 presidents have cold feet right now and don't want to make this move in haste. That's what I think. Stormy Cyclone, who's a VIP channel member here on the channel, he says, or he or she says, good that they wait. Litigation, ACC happenings would be great as a fourth team, though. Yeah, I would actually, I have nothing against adding UConn. From a fan perspective, I'm just from a financial perspective, does it make any sense? Again, maybe the president should trust Yormark on this and do what he feels best, but at the same time, they know what the pocketbook of their universities look like right now. And if they don't want to take a chance on losing money, I mean, West Virginia, for example, their athletic department, their budget is not that big. It's only like $105 million. About $20 million of that may have to go out to the house settlement. There's not a lot of wiggle room there for them. They can't afford to do anything that will cost him any money at all. Even $1 million is too much. 500,000 is too much. They have to take in and keep every single dime they can. And if bringing in UConn, if there's any chance at all. And another thing, it's been reported that Fox is not on board with this move because they would lose, because they're the primary holder of the Big East basketball deal, which, by the way, was just signed like a month or two ago. Do you really want to piss Fox off right now if you're Brett Yormark? And, I mean, yes, ESPN would like it, but can you afford to piss off one of your only two media partners right now? I'm not sure you can. You need to keep them in your back pocket, and you need to keep them on your side for the next round of media negotiations in 2031. So keep that in mind, too. You can't afford to have Fox pissed off at you if you're the Big 12 because you don't want to have to put all your eggs in the ESPN basket because then they hold all the leverage. You need to keep that leverage with Fox. Stormy Cyclone says if the Big 12 grabs UConn down the road, it can almost guarantee the Big 12 goes to 24 teams and has an Eastern division. I think that's probably Brett's plan. It wouldn't even surprise me if he has a plan of adding a basketball wing to the Big East, to the Big 12 or something. And again, as a former Big East guy, we saw what that did to the Big East Conference. I would not be a fan of that, but that could be Yormark's thinking. We've got It's Not Okay Golf in the house. He says, hey, Couz and all, beautiful day in the Mountain State. Just saw the stream. What's up, It's Not Okay Golf? Thank you for jumping in. This was kind of an emergency live stream. It was unplanned, unannounced. I saw this news come across. I had a few minutes to take for lunch here. I am working today, working from home today at my job. But, I do get an hour for lunch, so I thought I'd jump on here for a few minutes and bring you all some content and talk about this move. And some of you may not have Twitter, so you may not have seen it yet, and I thought it'd be an opportunity to share it with you. So again, just for those of you who might be joining late, UConn and Big 12 have stalled conversations, per reports by Brett McMurphy and others. This post from Amanda Kristovich says, wow, Big 12 Commissioner Brett Yormark says in a statement that he is pausing convos with UConn to join the conference, implicitly confirming the convos were happening if anyone needed more proof. So great point by Amanda there that a lot of people doubted that these conversations were even happening. This proves that they were. And here's the announcement by Yormark. As commissioner, it is my responsibility to explore a variety of value-creating opportunities on behalf of the Big 12. Following detailed discussions with my conference colleagues alongside UConn leadership, we have jointly decided to pause our conversations at this time. We will instead focus our attention and resources to ushering in this new era of college athletics. So I wanted to read that again for those who might have been joining late. This is going to be a really quick show. Again, don't have a whole lot. I've kind of given you my thoughts on it. I'll leave a link here at the end to my last video I did about this with some thoughts I had on it. And I think my thoughts are somewhat coming to fruition here. But again, Do not count out UConn in the future. This just means they're pausing the conversations, doesn't mean they're ending them permanently. Okay. So it is still possible that UConn lands in the Big 12 at some point in the future. And they also have their eyes on the ACC per a tweet put out by former ESPN producer Jim Williams. Scotty B says it makes sense to wait because of the ACC situation. Totally agree, Scotty. Big Ears Bo says the Big 12 has got to subtly solidify football before more basketball schools are added. Great point. Great point. By the way, guys, I just came out with a brand new merch item in my merch store. I haven't really been promoting my merch store much, but I did come out with a new shirt design. I don't have it ready to share with you right now, but go to couzescorner.com/shop. And it's on the bottom of the screen, couzescorner.com/shop or // I don't know what that is. Anyway, you know what to do. And go down to Couz's Corner merch store and pull it up, and you'll see it's called the Top Shelf merch line. For those of you who are West Virginia natives and or West Virginia fans, you will love it. And the rest of you may too. If you want to support my show, there are also other designs over there to choose from. You can get my channel logo on a t-shirt, on a hoodie. Cold fall weather starting to set in here soon, folks. If you want something to keep you warm in the fall and winter, grab yourself a hoodie. Go to, again, couzescorner.com/shop to see my merch. Thank you all for coming into this quick, abbreviated live stream about UConn deciding not, or UConn and Big 12 pausing talks, not UConn not coming to the Big 12 anytime in the immediate future because they want to focus on what is happening around college sports, likely all centered around the House settlement that has a big day in court today. So stay tuned for news on that. Not sure if I'll be covering it, but keep your eyes on Twitter, YouTube, and other places for talks about the House settlement updates. With all that being said, I appreciate you tuning in. Don't forget, shout out to Cats, Kenner, Stone Street, and Buckner, and BetUS Online Sportsbook and Casino. Thank them for supporting what I do here and helping me keep the lights on. Thank you very much. Have a top shelf day, and cue Country Roads.